It's the second week of the build out from ground zero of Old Dog New Tricks, and I thought it would be a good chance to give a bit of an update on what's been easy and what's been hard. I think one of the best decisions that I made to start with was to start the site based on a WordPress platform. I may change that later on, but it really is a great platform to build on if you want a high level of interactivity and if you want to link to all of the social media platforms. I had a look at Wix and things like that, but I just felt that WordPress was just a much better starting platform for beginners. I think the other thing with WordPress as well is it's so easy to do blogs with just text and images, and I think for a lot of people just getting that activity happening is really good because it gives you a lot of confidence that you're building content and getting things out there. I think the other good decision that I've made in the past week was really deciding to get an expert on board. I found someone through Airtasker who was awesome. And what that meant is that things that might take me, 2 or 3 days to sort out, I could get sorted out literally in a few hours because I could just get on the phone and say, look, I've got a problem with this. Can you sort that out? I gave them access to the back end and whatever. They go in and sort it out. And I think one of the really important things if you're beginning is to just keep that momentum up and keep moving forward. In terms of the tech behind the site, I decided to put a few plugins onto WordPress. One of them was PowerPress, which is a plugin that basically lets me link to podcasts and things like that. And the other one was Jetpack, which I'd done a post on earlier in the week, which has got a whole pile of built-in plugins that do things like back up your site, allow linkages to all of the social media and stuff like that. And I've got to admit that's really humming right now because I literally do a post on one part in the WordPress back end. It's a little bit tricky with LinkedIn, but I can push a button that post goes out to LinkedIn automatically. I push publish, it goes out to Twitter, it goes out to Instagram, it goes out to Facebook. Facebook's still a little bit tricky, but I'm sort of sorting that one out in terms of just trying to delineate between my personal Facebook page and my company Facebook page. So, and I think that's the thing I'd mentioned also in one of the very first blog posts that I did is it's really important, and you'll have to put a lot of work into separating your business entity from all of your existing personal entities, because what you don't want to do is just have everything you're doing online mixed up with what you've been doing, your family photos and your Christmas things and all of that sort of stuff from the past, because I think if you go down that path, that's a decision that you'll regret later on and you'll be pulling things apart and putting them back together again. So I put a lot of work into that over the last couple of weeks. On the content front, I have found that I've been using Anchor on the mobile phone. Anchor has been awesome. I've looked at all sorts of different platforms. I literally now just plug this little lavalier mic, no power pack, no anything like that, straight into my mobile, load up the Anchor app and record into it and publish. I did a test that I mentioned in a post earlier this week as well, where I plugged some very expensive microphones into the system and did a podcast on my editing system. And honestly, it's very hard to pick the difference between them. The only thing where I found that actually editing on the system has been good, and I have a video editing setup here, is that if you want to go through and chop and change and take out mistakes and rereads and all of that sort of stuff. But I'm really trying to push myself towards a point where I can do podcasts and I can do videos like this without having to sit down and write notes and rehearse and all of that sort of stuff. And in fact, this video, I decided no notes, no rehearsal, so I don't have a bit of paper sitting over there where I'm reading tricky notes off to the side. I just thought it would be best to get on and talk about what the last couple of weeks have been like. So yeah, video has been tricky from a content front. I decided to do some videos to populate my YouTube channel using some After Effects templates that I'd got on VideoHive. And that was just to give a more fun and sort of funky feel to some of the messaging. But more and more as I move forward, I'll be focusing on live to camera. I'm going up to Hong Kong the week after next, and I'm hoping to do some interviews up there. I've got a friend who runs a business accounting consultancy here, and I'm looking to talk to them about also doing basically a one-on-one type of thing, because I think those one-on-ones with people that can give advice and people that are out there actually doing digital marketing are the things that will really be of value moving forward. What else for this week? Haven't really run into any technical glitches, but what I've been really trying to do is keep it simple. I mean, I could have done a far more complex web setup. I could have installed more plugins and all of that sort of stuff, and I really decided not to. My key thing was to get the site up and all of the social platforms set up and linked together and actually working so that I could go live with it. I have started to tinker around with some back-end things linking into those platforms. I enabled Google Adsense to serve ads on olddognewtricks.com. And I mean, it looks a bit ugly and it breaks the site up, but that's half of the purpose of putting it there, is to just look at it and see how it works, how the back end works. I'll be moving into a phase where I'll start to do AdWords campaigns to sort of push the site out to different target groups and stuff like that. But really currently I want to just really figure out how it works, and I want to figure out how I can make the appearance of those ads look better on the site so they're not so cluttered, because currently they're a bit all over the place. But I'm happy to live with that for now because it's all a learning exercise. I have enabled tracking as well through Google Analytics, which was very easy to set up. I had to set up an account and link the site up to that, but that's been a very straightforward process. I haven't really looked at data because the site has only been live for 3 days or something like that. So as I get into next week, I'll start looking at web traffic. And honestly, I'm not expecting web traffic. That will take time as I start to now move into the phase of starting to actually market the sites to different groups and start to build that up. I am going to try and do a video like this at the end of every week because I think that's important. I also just watched a video too by one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, and he was saying that, I mean, his learning experience was that you have to be there constantly. I mean, he was talking about how it took him 5 years to get to 500,000 subscribers, and then he decided to basically get out there and make an appearance on his YouTube channel daily, and literally in 6 months his following went from 500,000 subscribers to 1 million subscribers, and he's seen exponential growth since then, up to, I think he's now got 2.5 million. But he was talking a lot about the importance of actually being there. So, it's a bit like your favourite TV series. If it wasn't there every week and it just disappeared, you'd lose track of it and not keep following it. So that's the thing I'm definitely going to try and move forward with, and try and balance out and have regular video content moving forward. So that's it pretty well for the first week. I hope there are some learnings in there for people that are setting up. I think definitely I would recommend WordPress for interactivity, linkages across to the platforms. One thing I had mentioned in one of my blog posts earlier, if you're starting out, and this doesn't matter if you're a beginner or whatever, you are going to end up with a lot of logins and passwords. I mean, heaps, to hosting services and Google and YouTube and LinkedIn and all over the place. Image libraries, music libraries and stuff like that. You really need to get a system in place to keep track of all those logins and passwords. And also a good system to keep track of just interesting things that you see on the web that you go, oh, I want to remember that. And so I've just got a folder divided down into the different platforms where I'm just cutting and pasting website links and all that sort of stuff to give me fodder to go back to down the track to review and talk about. So that's it for this week, and I will see you next week just before I jump on a plane and go up to Hong Kong. And I'm assuming in the third week, I will be beaming to you from Hong Kong somewhere. Traveling, I'm going to be using a Osmo Mobile, just with my phone, the same thing linked in, and I'm going to just try and do some videos. I'm going to try and interview some business people in Hong Kong to talk about digital media, to talk about what works and what doesn't work, because I really think that when it comes to digital media, a lot of what we're talking about here is just universal. I mean, I'm based in Sydney. I've worked here, there, and everywhere around the world, and I travel around the world a lot, and I think there's nothing specific really to any country when you look at it at a macro level. It might be when you get down to the nuts and bolts, but really at the end of the day, digital marketing is digital marketing. So yeah, I'll be talking to some people up there, and yeah, so hopefully you got something out of this, and I will see you next time.